What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Today we've hopped onto the PB in the training mode and we're going to be checking out the reworks to Sejuani, Zac, and Maokai. And I think actually Sejuani is the most broken one out of all three of these. She's really strong after a new kit, but she's getting the least attention. I know like some people have done videos like this already, but there's a difference between watching it on a like web page and actually seeing it in game. So that's what we're going to be doing today and checking it out. Now, Sejuani, very quickly, let's go over what she actually does differently. Like her passive, there's two parts to this, okay? And both of these are ridiculous. You can see here, if I don't take damage for 15 seconds, which by the way charges quicker if I'm running around and stuff, I gain 434 armor and 310 magic resist, which is absolutely ridiculous. Look at my stats right now. I take 88% less physical damage. I take 84% reduced magic damage. Almost 800 armor right now. Okay, absolutely crazy with this new passive. The other side of it though is if you actually stun, which we'll get to in a second, if Sejuani is the one stunning them, her next attack or spell against them deals 25% of their maximum health as magic damage. That is going to crush a Baron, a Dragon, that is going to crush a tank as well. Both parts of these passive are ridiculous and most people skipped over this, but it's actually really good. So a Q is basically the same. You charge people, you whack them. That's pretty much just how it is. You knock them back, you're airborne. By the way, this is a new crowd control status effect above. It tells you exactly what it is. Her W is a bit different though. It's now 2 hits like this. The second one does more damage and it applies your frost. So basically this is like a brawn passive. But actually the difference though is with her E, so once you have this, and nearby melee champions, so allied champions, apply this frost as well if they're nearby. See this little ring around her? So for example, even if I was a Darius, right? Attacking someone near Sejuani, I would apply this. I get to 4 here, and now suddenly I can stun her if I target them with my E. And other people will apply that as well. So W is going to hit multiple people. It applies them as well. So it's a good way of getting 2 stacks instantly. And then with her E, now if I use my E on that person, I stun them from range. And if I attack them, okay, that was a bit too slow. If I attack them while they are frozen like that, I'm going to deal 25% of their maximum health. So if we do that again, just auto attack 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I use my E here, and then I attack them. You see that massive chunk of damage? This guy has 10,000 health, by the way. Just to put that into perspective, and he has some armor and magic resist as well, and I built no damage. So that's actually pretty ridiculous. So this is where the 25% of max health comes in a bit more. So she's actually kind of like an AoE brawl in a team fight, except you can apply it yourself. Like if I'm attacking this guy, right, and Darius or Yasuo is attacking this guy, imagine a Yasuo who after 4 attacks applies that, and then I press that, and suddenly I'm going to be able to stun. This also has a 1.35 second cooldown, and that's actually legit. So it means that basically if everybody gets hit by this, I can stun everyone after each other. Like it's more than enough time to do it as long as it doesn't all happen instantly. And then finally with her ultimate, it's 2 parts. So if I'm right next to somebody like this, it's going to fire it and it's going to stun the first target. It only stuns 1 person now, by the way. But if I'm actually from range, see it's got a massive range here, like all the way over there. That is crazy. Even if it misses, it has this Ice Storm, right? Which does 350 damage at rank 3. It slows them by 80% for 3 seconds as well. It's really hard to get away from that. But for example, if I hit it here, because it's out of this initial circle, you see, like this initial thing here, it's going to create that storm. If I fire it here, it doesn't create a storm. Well, okay, that does because it didn't hit anybody. But it has to be far enough away. It's only going to stun 1 person, but then it does AoE damage around. So it's kind of like an AoE Nunu ult, roughly, that stuns the first target that's hit. But that's pretty much Sejuani in a nutshell. Your Q, as a recap, people keep asking me to do recaps before I get off of these rundown things. So her passive is going to give you armor and magic resist if you haven't taken any damage for a while, and also it means you're immune to slows, so you can run through a slow for like, it lasts for 3 seconds after your first hit, so you gain that armor and magic resist as you engage as well. You're also going to be dealing 25% of their maximum health as damage when they're stunned. Your Q knocks somebody up. Your W does this little 2-hit thing. Your E is the stun passive, and then we apply the passive there, and ultimate is a like storm around the stun target, or if I hit someone right next to me, it's only going to be the first stun. That's going to be Sejuani. Let me hop into another game with Maokai and Zac, and we'll go over them as well. So next up, we're going to look at Zac then. We're back in the training mode again. And the real difference is with him are his Q and his ultimate. And it actually is probably the most fun champion out of these reworks, I reckon. He's going to be the most attention, like getting the most played and stuff, just because he looks so much fun. Alright, so his passive is pretty much the same. Just here has the little goo blobs that he spawns when he hits someone with something like that, so you can pick them up. His W is still the same as well. It's like the AoE damage, and if he picks up the goo, it then reduces the cooldown of this by a second as well. His E, the elastic slingshot, just as it is normally. So his W, the first cast is actually a skill shot, so you can see it's a line skill shot here. Once you've hit that though, it's actually a basic attack to slam them together. So you can see it does damage when you latch onto it. It then does damage when you slam them together as well. If I do this again, and I'll show you over here though, the distance between the slam actually isn't that high. So this is a skill shot. I'm pressing Q right here. Now I'm going to walk forward and I'm going to basic attack this guy and slam them together. Now, even though that's actually quite far, if there's anything in between the minions, what I've noticed is they don't really slam together, and that means they don't do the bonus damage. They still move them and stuff, but they're not really going to like have that extra bonus damage, if that makes sense. So I'll try and replicate it again now. So if I have two here and I have like another one in the middle, for example, if I get this one and this one, let's see if it does it. It does do it. So it does do AoE damage. When I've been doing this with minions though, it's much more buggy than with the training dummies, but that's basically the slam. It's a skill shot for the first one. You hit it, you then just have to basic attack someone else, and you move them together to slam them together. Now the ultimate, if you smart cast this, you're probably gonna mess it up and just do this basically, which is just like the normal Zac ult, right? It's an AoE knockback displacement kind of thing, but the difference now is if I do it over here, actually, I can, for 2.5 seconds, I can be this blob thing where I'm immune to crowd control, right? I'm not immune to damage, by the way, just immune to crowd control. And then if I move them here, so if I click over here, I then can take these with me, take the enemies with me to the new position. So this is what part of the reason I think it's gonna be so much fun. You Q and slam them together, and then you ultimate here, and then you move them to a new location. Obviously they move very far there, but that's why I think Zac is actually gonna be so much fun. This, by the way, is the gargoyle stone thingy, where you take reduced you have more health, but you deal reduced damage for 4 seconds, which is actually pretty crazy. And it does look really cool, honestly, when you're running around like this. But that's pretty much Zac. So passive is the same. Q is this thing where you fire a skill shot, you then basic attack and slam them together. Your E is exactly the same, and your ultimate is going to go into a blob. If you have it for long enough, you then are able to drag people to a new location. You have to at least be doing this for a second before you can move them. Otherwise, it literally is just a displacement like this. You can instantly use it, or you can hold it down and move it like into tower range or something, for example. It's actually gonna be really cool if you could like dive into the back line. You can like CC them with this, instantly do it. If they don't flash out, you can probably drag them back into your team, honestly. So it looks the most fun for sure. Like this ultimate is just ridiculously fun. I could play around with this all day. So that is Zac in a nutshell. It's the most fun, I think, honestly. You can just move yourself, by the way. You don't have to have minions in there. I didn't actually say that before. You don't have to have, it does move minions and champions. Don't have to, you can move anyway. But yeah, he seems like the most fun. W, E are the same, long range, like launching yourself for a gank, and also, which is really far, rank 5. W is the same. Q, slamming, and ultimate is going to be moving them around. So let's get into the final one, which is Maokai, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're finally on to the Maokai rework now, which is the last one of the 3 big reworks coming in the mid-season update. And this is probably like the most standard version, I guess. Like there isn't a ton that's actually changed with him. The times just rejigged like what his kit actually does. I guess that makes sense. Well, it will make sense in a second because we're gonna get into it. Passive-wise, it's still the same. It heals him. Actually heals him for 11.5% of his maximum health, by the way, which is freaking nuts. Like this would heal me for like 500-ish, 550, and obviously then I have Spirit Visage, which is going to increase by 30% as well. So that's pretty nuts. It doesn't work exactly the same now. It's only when Maokai himself uses a spell that reduces the cooldown on it, and also when he's struck by one. So like a Yasuo, for example, Maokai was always a good Yasuo counter because Yasuo would spam his Q and it would stack his passive. Now it's not going to stack Maokai's passive unless Yasuo actually hits Maokai with the Q. So if that makes sense, it's basically the same thing, but it just isn't as easy to proc consistently in a team fight if you're not getting hit by stuff yourself or you're not using your spells. W, well, your Q is the same, just a little everything. It knocks up people now though, right next to them. So nearby enemies, you see this little like circle around them? That's what's actually going to get displaced there. It's actually a stun. Otherwise, it just does the damage and it just slows. So nearby is going to get knocked up. Away from him is just going to get a slow. His W is the same, but watch this, okay? It's so slow. What the fuck is that? That is ridiculously slow. It used to be almost instant before, like an instant CC, but now like it has a really high travel time. So basically, you have loads of time to use a dash or a skill, like a dash or like flash, sorry, to drag him back into your teammates. Like, it's just really, really slow. And also a big thing, it doesn't do percentage damage anymore. It just does a flat amount of damage. So that is because his E does percentage damage instead. It does 115, which is not bad, but plus 8% of the target's maximum health, and it also slows them as well. So this is going to, well, let me just place it down very quickly. It looks like it's targetable, but it's actually not. It goes on here anyway. Also, if you push it, place it in a bush, lasts for 70 seconds, and they also do double damage over 2 seconds to everyone that is hit. So this, I think, is where jungle Maokai comes back in, because, you know, Maokai was actually one of the first junglers to ever been played. Like, actually, funnily enough, my brother Foxdrop and the Odd One, like, this was like season 2 or 3. They both started playing it about the same time, and that was kind of how it became popular, like, way back in the day. But, oh, that's like a history lesson. But still, this is kind of keeping, like, jungle Maokai alive, right? If it's placed in a bush, you can put it into a bush, like, here, or you can place it into a bush, like, in the red buff and stuff. You can stack them there, lead the camp into the bush, and it's going to deal double damage. But, I mean, 8% anyway is pretty nuts. I think as well, if you think about this, this is going to be... I know it's only his E, right? But it's actually quite big, because if you place him in these kind of bushes here or here, here, for example, like, this could be a really good trap kind of mechanism, where that if you're placing these down and then obviously like the opponents kind of face check into objectives and stuff, they're going to take the double damage, and it's actually going to be an absolute ton. Like 16% of your max health is a massive chunk of that. So this is kind of where the strategic side of Maokai actually comes in way more now. If you're baiting an objective, you're actually going to be much more powerful. Finally then, his ultimate is going to be this mad-ass long thing. These are so slow, okay? I've just wanted to make the point that they actually have quite a wide area, and as you can see, like, I only hit 1 out of 3 there, even though it probably should have hit like more of them because they're quite spaced out. Just because the point I'm trying to make is it's really weird, okay? Once they hit a target, it is done, so like, that's it. And one of the other things, oh, my voice just kind of cracked there. And one of the things as well is if I'm right next to someone and I use this, it only roots for like 0.5 seconds or something stupid. Like, it's really not that long of a time at all. If somebody hit a max range there, like, it'd actually root for up to 2.5 seconds, which is crazy time. Like, 2.5 seconds is insane. But basically what I'm trying to say is, if you have like a tank in your team, for example, you could all stack in a line behind the tank, and you actually would only get hit by one of these. So one, it's really, really slow. Two, if you're right next to somebody and you use it, like you W in here and then go, okay, I'm going to use my ult, it's only going to root this one person, and it's going to root them for like half a second, which is pretty rubbish. If you get hit by a max range Maokai ultimate, you're pretty bad, because you can easily flash this thing. It's so slow. Or just run away. Like, to prove a point, if I run here, look, I'm faster than the thing. Obviously, it does get faster over time, I think. But I'm faster to start with than that. So if I'm like halfway away, I'm pretty sure I can outrun that. This is basically the Maokai in a nutshell. That's why I said it's kind of standard, honestly. Like, his passive is the same, just works slightly differently. His Q is the same, just works slightly differently. Next to somebody, you're going to knock them up, otherwise you're just going to slow. W is really, really slow now. E is going to do percentage damage, and if it's in a bush, it does double damage. And his ultimate is this really, really long wall of roots, basically like a Nami wave, I guess, at the same time. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, the recap of the 3 together. Tried to not make this too long, honestly, just give you a very quick gameplay overview of what these champions actually do and how strong I think each one is going to be. I honestly think Sejuani is the strongest, Zac is going to be the most fun to play, and Maokai, strategically at least, a high elo is going to be very strong because of the way you can place your saplings and also just your ultimate to zone people. It is a really, really, really good zone tool, actually. Like, you can pretty much cover the entire river with something like that, so you could zone someone from objectives really well. That's kind of what his job is going to be. Zac is like a disruptor, and Sejuani is like this team buffer. I don't know. Sejuani is so broken, man. Sejuani is so broken. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but for now, I'm going to leave you with the robots.